of the ickiness. So you may not have fallen off your chair in amazement when the International Journal of Toxicology published a study last year called Glyphosate Commercial Formulation Causes Cytotoxicity, Oxidative Effects, and Apoptosis on Human Cells, differences with its active ingredient, because of course that isn't really English, that's jargonese, and most people don't understand that type of medical scientific jargon. So we need to turn to other sources to find out what this study is about. For example, naturalsociety.com had this translation back in September of last year. Another independent study confirms Monsanto's Roundup chemicals are lethal even in small doses. And this talks, of course, about glyphosate, the main ingredient in Monsanto's herbicide du jour, Roundup, and how it is killing us in much smaller servings than the agro industry is dishing out in its common GMO and pesticide spraying practices. And it is made stronger by the additional chemicals used in the Roundup formula, a commercial formulation that study we just looked at calls G formulation. So it is killing people in small doses, something that you don't really need to be told if you live in certain areas of the world. For example, taking our cue from this article published last August, cancer deaths double in Argentina's GMO agribusiness areas, that notes that a report by the Ministry of Health in Cordoba, Argentina, reveals that deaths from cancerous tumors are double the national average in areas where genetically engineered crops are grown and agrochemicals are used. Now, interestingly, just a few days ago, you may not have seen this either, but the Lancet Oncology published carcinogenicity of tetrachlorvinphosparathion, malathion, diazinon, and glyphosate, which again is more of that jargon which you may not understand, but in order to understand it, let's turn to this article. Glyphosate is probable human carcinogen, WHO's cancer agency. And this goes on to talk about an assessment by the International Agency for Research on Cancer of glyphosate, which found that the weed killer is a probable human carcinogen. And this article notes this is a move that will alarm the agrochemical industry and amateur gardeners, as it should, of course, because the industry must be concerned that their facade that they've put up for a couple of decades now, that glyphosate's fine, it's great, it's wonderful, it's harmless as the rainwater from the heavens, it's beautiful, is falling apart before their very eyes. So what is St. Louis, Missouri-based Monsanto to do in such a situation? Well, bring in the big guns, by which I mean Patrick Moore. For those of you who don't know Patrick Moore, he is, well, a lot of things, but he's also the founder of Green Spirit Strategies Limited, an environmental PR communications firm, which tells its corporate, mostly multinational biotech type chemical industry clients how to greenwash their products and make it sound like they're just as wonderful and nourishing as mother's milk, no matter what the actual scientific evidence may indicate. So Patrick Moore, among other things, has gone around talking about glyphosate and how wonderful it is. Interestingly, though, of course, he's been caught up in this release in the last few days of the WHO, calling it a probable carcinogen. And it's in that context that a French filmmaker just released an interesting little interview clip, which is really the point of what we're looking at today. You can find this, for example, on gmwatch.org. What happened when Patrick Moore was challenged to drink a glass of glyphosate? This is talking about the 6-month-long investigation that Paul Moreda did for a documentary for Canal Plus, Bientôt dans vos assiettes. My apologies to all francophones everywhere for my pronunciation, but basically this film shows the terrible damage done in Argentina over the last 15 years by the use of increasingly large and uncontrolled amounts of agrochemicals in the GMO soy growing areas. The documentary notes the explosion of illnesses, including cancer, among those living in the areas where the Roundup Ready crop is being cultivated. So the interviewer asks Patrick Moore about this, and Moore says, I don't believe that glyphosate in Argentina is causing increases in cancer. You can drink a whole quart of it and it won't hurt you. And that's where we pick up this story, and I'll just let the interview speak for itself. It has to be heard and seen to be believed.
You can drink a whole quart of it and it won't hurt you.
You want to drink some? We have some here.
I'd be happy to, actually, but not really, but
not really?
I know it wouldn't hurt me.
If you say so, I have some glyphosate.
No, I'm not stupid.
Okay, so you.
No, but I know
so
that
it's dangerous,
I
right?
know. No, people try to commit suicide with it and fail fairly
let's
regularly.
Tell the truth.
It's not dangerous to humans. No, it's not.
So you ready?
All right, a humorous little situation, and it's just one of those tiny little things that gives the real window onto the issue. Again, you can have any number of scientific studies published in jargonese and gobbledygook that people won't understand or be able to read that goes into great details about how this is a toxic substance that is killing people, a probable human carcinogen, even listed by the World Health Organization's cancer agency of all places. And yet, of course, you'll get the Patrick Moores of the world continuing to talk about it as if it's wonderful until they're asked to drink a glass. And then suddenly the tune changes a little bit, doesn't it? I just thought that was a humorous little window onto what these people really believe and what they are really willing to do. It's perfectly fine for human consumption, no ill human effects, but no, I'm not going to drink a glass. That pretty much says it all, and I thought the ending of this was particularly humorous.
Did you drink one glass of glyphosate?
No, I'm not an idiot. Interview me about golden rice. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, then it's finished. Then the interview is finished.
That's a good way to solve things.
Yeah. You're a complete jerk.
You're a complete jerk for